Dear parents and guardians, my name is Arlette Molina, and I am the Director of Personal Counseling, and along with Miss Rachel Topham and Miss Stephanie Snyder, as personal counselors, we provide emotional and social support to your student. We support them through whatever it is that they may be struggling with and are needing emotional support around. With that said, we would like to offer you, parents, support in the way of a resource video providing you with information that may be helpful to you as you navigate parenting during these stressful times. It is safe to say that we all have been impacted by COVID-19 in one way or another. During this time, you as parents may be experiencing more stress than usual, and it can show in many different ways. Ms. Topham and Ms. Snyder will provide you with useful information to help you manage and reduce your daily stress.
Hi, my name is Rachel Topham, and I'm one of the counselors here at ICA. And today I'd like to share some thoughts and tips around how to take care of yourself during COVID-19. This pandemic has disrupted our lives in ways that we never thought would be possible. And though everyone is dealing with it differently, the one thing that we all have in common is that we are feeling tired, overwhelmed, and stressed. Listen, I get it. There are not enough hours in the day. We are dealing with children at home, changing work demands, family and friends who are directly impacted by the virus, and a million other things. But now, more than ever, it's so important to learn how to take care of yourself. I know it's hard to prioritize your own needs, but in order to be the best parents that we can be, we need to come from a place of wellness. And that means being healthy, taking time for yourself each day. So here are 3 tips that I'd like to share that you can incorporate into your daily lives to get through these very stressful times. It'll help you feel more mindful, more centered, more healthy, and well prepared to take on the stressors of COVID-19. Tip number 1, be healthy. That means eating food that is nutritious, like fruits and vegetables, so that we can stay healthy and sane during this hard time. It also means drinking a lot of nice cold, clean water, like a few bottles a day, to keep your system clean and to keep your body healthy. Also, do a little exercise. It doesn't have to be some complicated big routine. Maybe it's just taking your dog for a walk. Maybe it's taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Or if you've got little kiddos at home, do a dance party to a song that you or they love. And third, get enough sleep. Taking the time and making the choice to go to sleep a little bit earlier each night will help you stay rested, focused, and calm the next day. Tip number 2, I call this take a few. And by take a few, I mean take a few minutes for yourself each day. Uninterrupted you time. This could be 5 to 10 minutes of doing deep, meditative, mindful breaths. Or it can be listening to your favorite song really, really loudly in your house or in your car. It could be just taking a hot shower. Anything that is just for you helps you reset and recenter and be ready to feel like yourself again. And the third tip I have for you is to know your breaking point and be okay with asking for help. Everyone in the last year has had a moment where we just want to pull our hair out and scream. These are hard times. And if the relaxing techniques are not working, and if you feel yourself feeling so stressed and overwhelmed that you are actually not going to be able to handle it, this is a time to reach out. Reach out to a trusted friend or family member and let them know what's going on. The best thing to do is to be able to communicate with someone else so that they can offer you support. If this is also getting too much for you and you do not have a family member who can help you out, then please reach out to a mental health professional. Our counseling offices are always open to help you. You can email us and we can find a way to set you up with a mental health professional in your neighborhood, and we can also help you get a referral. Your primary care physician is also a person who can help you get a referral to someone who can help out and help you get back on your path to wellness. So I truly hope that this has been helpful and that by implementing these strategies, you can feel better equipped to survive these crazy and scary and stressful days. We hope that you stay healthy and safe. And please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to myself, Rachel Topham, to Miss Arlette Molina, or to Miss Stephanie Snyder.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Snyder, a member of the personal counseling team, and today I'm going to talk about managing conflict. Figuring out how to manage conflict is an issue commonly faced by parents of teenagers because developmentally, teenagers are at an age where they often push boundaries and disobey parents. Additionally, for many families, conflict has gotten more acute during COVID restrictions because family members spend more time with one another or because there is more overall stress in the household. I'm going to be talking about techniques that originate from research done by Dr. John and Julie Gottman, who have spent years studying relationships and what makes relationships healthy. During their research, they found behaviors that make conflict worse and other behaviors that can help people effectively manage conflict. I have pulled much of this information from the website for their organization, the Gottman Institute, and this website will be included in the resources accompanying the video. One behavior that can make conflict worse is criticism. The Gottmans use the word criticism in a specific way. Constructive feedback is an important part of all relationships, but when our criticism turns into a personal attack, this can escalate conflict. For example, let's say a child is supposed to be responsible for doing the dishes during the day, and a parent comes home from work and the dishes haven't been done. It's easy to get angry and frustrated if this regularly happens, and anger in a situation like this is understandable. However, conflict gets worse when parents respond with criticism such as, "Why didn't you do the dishes? You must be lazy." Or, "You never do the dishes, you just can't do anything right." Phrases that use the word you and that can involve labels will feel like a personal attack to the other person, and the other person will often respond in a similar way. The Gottmans explain that the best way to avoid criticism is what they call the gentle startup. This means using I language rather than you language, and also focusing on feelings and needs. For example, rather than saying, "You must be lazy," it's more effective to say something like, "It's frustrating to me when I come home from work and the dishes aren't done. I need you to do the dishes before you go to bed." This phrasing, focusing on needs and feelings, still tells the child what the parent needs them to do, but it's a much more effective way to communicate rules, and it's less likely to lead to conflict than criticism. The second behavior that can make conflict worse is contempt. Behaviors that involve contempt are emotionally dismissive of the other person. The Gottman Institute website includes behaviors such as, quote, sarcasm, cynicism, name-calling, eye-rolling, sneering, mockery, and hostile humor, end quote, in this category of behaviors. The best way to eliminate contempt is to show appreciation within relationships, and the Gottmans argue that people need to show appreciation much more often than you engage in correction or conflict in order to keep relationships healthy. This means that even when things are going smoothly, we should regularly communicate things like, "I noticed that you took out the trash, thank you," or, "I can tell that you've been working hard at your schoolwork recently. I'm really proud of your hard work." One way of thinking about the situation is like an emotional bank account. When you communicate positive things on a regular basis, you are putting money into the family's emotional bank account. When you engage in conflict, you make withdrawals. If you regularly express appreciation and respect when you are not in conflict, when you do have conflicts, you have the emotional resources to more easily manage the conflict. Also, when people are in a family conflict, showing respect and appreciation can help to make the conflict go more smoothly. For example, returning to the example of doing dishes, if a parent comes home and the dishes aren't done, saying something like, "I suspect you may have had a busy day since the dishes are done. Can you please do them now?" Or, "You need to do the dishes now, but I also want you to know that I really appreciated when you did the dishes without my having to tell you yesterday," are ways of showing appreciation and respect and make it easier for a child to hear and obey the parent's request. Another behavior that can make conflict worse is defensiveness. When someone is defensive, they are unable to see the perspective of the other person. They blame the other person for the problem, and they don't take any responsibility. While it's understandable to be frustrated with the faults and problematic behaviors of the other person, defensiveness, or the need to always be right, doesn't resolve conflict. For example, let's say that a parent yells when a child doesn't do what the parent asks, and the child then gets angry at the parent for yelling. A defensive response from the parent would be, "I wouldn't have yelled at you if you had done what you were supposed to." This is a response that would likely continue or worsen the conflict. A response that would help reduce the conflict is, "I'm sorry that I yelled. I was upset." Then when things have calmed down, the parent could again tell the child what they needed to do. The final behavior that can make conflicts worse is stonewalling. When someone stonewalls, they remove themselves from a conflict because they're so frustrated that they refuse to talk to the other person. When people angrily refuse to engage, it just amplifies tension. However, if both people in the conflict agree to take a break to regroup and come back to the conflict, that can actually be helpful. For example, let's say that you're in a conflict with your teenager and things are getting heated, and one or both of you starts yelling. In that moment, it can be helpful to say, "I think we are both too upset right now to resolve this. Let's go take a break and come back in half an hour when we're both a little calmer." Then each of you, ideally, could go do something calming, like reading a book or eating something you enjoy, for at least 20 minutes before returning to the conversation. When you return to the conversation, it often goes more smoothly. One final thing to keep in mind that as you practice these techniques in your relationships, you will also be modeling them for your children. You can encourage them to do things like avoid criticism and contempt, to communicate their needs, and to show appreciation. When everyone in the family is practicing these behaviors, it doesn't eliminate conflict, but it helps everyone navigate difficult discussions much more smoothly.
Now, your student may be experiencing added stress as well. Let's give them the credit that they deserve as they are making history. They're being asked to attend high school online during a pandemic. They have been asked to adjust to a new way of living. With this added stress, you may be noticing some behavioral changes in your student. I will be giving you information on how to best support your student during these difficult times. The first suggestion is to sit down with your teen to come up with a realistic schedule to set up a healthy routine for them. Routines help ensure their important needs get met. A realistic and reliable daily schedule with designated times for learning, downtime, physical activity, and sleep promotes an overall well-being. Under normal circumstances, going to school provides the structure and routine the students need to help keep them busy, growing, and active. However, when their day is unstructured, like weekends and summers, teens are more likely to have more screen time, less likely to exercise, eat at sporadic times, and it throws off their sleep schedule. Therefore, setting up a healthy routine will be helpful to your teen. My second suggestion is to provide a warm and supportive home environment for your teen to help reduce their daily stress. School is stressful, and some weeks are more stressful than others, especially if there's an important essay due or they're studying for an important test. Recall one of the toughest days your teenager had before the pandemic began. What was their mood like? They probably weren't in a very good mood. Now imagine a day like that on top of the emotional ups and downs of living during a pandemic for almost a year now. Research shows that strong, supportive relationships at home help teens manage and even thrive during difficult times. Having parents who are kind, patient, understanding, and predictable can help teenagers mitigate the chronic stress of living under COVID-19. With that said, I do recognize that it isn't always easy to be empathetic, especially when you too are feeling worn down by the pandemic. This is definitely a stressful time for all. That's why it's important to make sure you self-care to be able to reduce your stress and allow yourself to parent from a place of rest. Remember that teenagers often want nothing more than just your quiet, supportive presence, even when they are in the midst of an emotional outburst. You can normalize the difficulty of this time for teenagers in a compassionate way and resist the impulse to list solutions and suggestions when they have a problem. You can ask them if they would like for you to help them think of solutions, because sometimes they may just want you to listen without judgment. I'd like to mention again to you to do your best to take care of yourself so that you'll have the energy you'll need to be patient and loving towards your teenager. Your young adult, the ones you love and the ones you hold dear, are navigating a school year that is unprecedented and unpredictable. Let's be sure to give them what they need to get through this pandemic in a healthy way. We at ICA Cristo Rey are here in partnership with you to help your students thrive. If you have questions for the personal counseling team, or you would like to connect your daughter to personal counseling support, please give me a call or send me an email. Sending you all positive vibes. Please stay safe and well.